My name is Jeff Spencer. I'm currently the Sustainability Section Manager with the Michigan Department of Environment, Great Lakes and Energy in the Materials Management Division. And specifically, I'm going to talk a little bit today about our sustainability programs. The sustainability section at EGLE is primarily comprised of two main units, our energy unit and our recycling or materials management unit. But there's really so much more than just those two program areas. In between is the pollution prevention group or group of activities that are technical assistance in nature or funding in nature. But a little bit on the energy side, and recycling for the most part is activities that support the My Healthy Climate Plan as well. And implementing the My Healthy Climate Plan, our goals are committing to environmental justice and pursuing a just transition, cleaning the electrical grid and hardening that as well, electrifying vehicles and increasing public transportation, repairing and decarbonizing homes and businesses, driving a clean, innovative industry or industries, and obviously within EGLE, protecting Michigan's land and water resources. And we do this with a number of funding sources, and certainly encourage you to take a look at some of the online resources that are available as well. As I mentioned, funding sources on the previous slide. This is just a quick synopsis of those funding sources that we're currently engaged with. As you can see, a number of funding sources from the federal government, state energy program, solid waste infrastructure for recycling or SWIFR, pollution prevention for food waste, as well as the home energy rebates and clean heavy duty vehicles. And once again, this is an opportunity to take a look at these funding sources, both at EPA, Environmental Protection Agency, and also the Department of Energy for more information on these individual funding sources, as well as some of the project areas that they fund. In addition to federal funding, we also have a number of state supplemental funding sources for renewable ready communities, critical materials recycling, which deals with electronics recycling and the capture of critical minerals, clean fuel and charging infrastructure, and our waste diversion accelerator. Well, a high-level look at our program focus areas. We really do try to be holistic in our approach to programming, both on the energy side and on the recycling materials management side. And these are the five main buckets, if you will, of focus areas for us. Local units of government, so we work with a lot of communities, community organizations, and so forth. Industry, I think goes without saying. Michigan's an industrial state. We work with lots of industrial and commercial entities across Michigan. Infrastructure, I spoke a moment ago about grid resiliency, renewable energy, and recycling, and supporting these areas with infrastructure, technical assistance, support, and funding. Mobility, looking for clean transportation, EV infrastructure, and how those all interact, both from a infrastructure, industrial, and community standpoint. And workforce. In order to advance these areas of interest, infrastructure, industry, we need a highly skilled and trained workforce to do that. These next few slides will be a little more specific in nature. This particular slide, we're going to talk a little bit about agriculture, rural business, and manufacturers. Working towards that low carbon future through these programs, as well as enacting policies and driving environmental sustainability in industry. So these are some of the programs that we have currently that are out there, I think truly making a difference. Restart, this is a group of retired engineers that we send out to do assessments at industrial properties or commercial entities. They provide reports on implementation opportunities for improvement, for innovation, and so forth. Also working with agriculture and rural businesses, retooling incentives for manufacturers. We provide funding and technical support to update machinery, look at lean process improvements and so forth. Food waste reduction, talk a little bit more about food waste later on, but certainly a large goal for Michigan, 50% food waste reduction or diversion from landfill by 2030. Sustainability assessment implementation kind of goes hand in hand with that first one, Restart. This is dollars and technical assistance to help with the actual implementation of recommendations. Energy and pollution prevention loans, and a couple of different accelerators which bring in fledgling companies and startups, bring resources to them and help them get started in their journey towards building a sustainable business. On the same line, mentioned mobility a moment ago, motors, vehicles, and vessels, looking to clean the air, electrify the grid, electrify our mobility issues. And these are some of the funding sources that help us do those types of things. Clean fuel and charging infrastructure, electric vehicle and clean fueling infrastructure needs, chargers and so forth. Optimizing electric vehicle charger replacement plans, so looking for those gaps where chargers are most needed. Charge at Michigan, Lake Michigan Circuit, provide electric vehicle charging infrastructure, fleet electrification efforts, fuel transformation program, diesel emission reduction, look to replace diesel with cleaner vehicles, could be diesel, so low emissions and so forth. And then there's this Watergy Energy Nexus program. A good example here would be ports and marinas and even agriculture that looking for irrigation systems. So there's always opportunity to be more efficient and less polluting. Equitable access. So this is about providing access and convenience for all Michiganders. So regardless of where you're located, what your income level of education, and so forth. And these programs promote and support that access for everyone. Grid resiliency, everyone should have access to safe, reliable power. Clean energy, low-income community accelerators, Solarize Michigan, and recycling infrastructure. Recycling infrastructure is a good point that in order to make recycling successful, we need to make it accessible to everyone, and we need to make sure that it's convenient. Before, we need a strong workforce, but even more than that, education and outreach are absolutely essential to making these programs successful and making us all successful. And we do this in a number of ways. Code compliance. If we're training a workforce and we have laws on the books on how something needs to be built, we want to make sure those codes and those compliance actually support, clean energy efficiency specifically, and a number of other things. Building operator training, clean energy workforce development, training residential energy contractors. This is specifically targeted toward home energy rebates. Energy auditor training, having specialized skills to go in and conduct an energy audit, both at a resident and in commercial buildings. Recycler training, how to recycle properly, not just from a residential standpoint, but also businesses and those that handle those materials. Small community recycling education, providing small grants to help develop media kits to get the word out, to hold events and educate your residents. And the Know It Before You Throw It campaign, you might know it as the Recycler Raccoons. So we'll talk a little bit more about that later. And coming back full circle to communities, this is a program that is broad. It gets down in the weeds. It's high level. We work with local units of government, associations that represent those, and residents that want to be involved as well. The program, as it suggests, this is resources, an informational hub to provide a catalyst for communities to get jump-started towards their goals and objectives. This was one area I strongly recommend you take a look at the website, which is listed down here below, michigan.gov/Catalyst Communities. We offer webinars at least monthly, if not several times a month. Those are all stored on our websites to be viewed at your leisure. Lots of information there, both from the webinars, but also lots of technical resources and other opportunities to get involved. So strongly recommend that you check that out. Just a little background too on what EGLE does, what we do within sustainability, and like I said, encompassing recycling and energy. We run programs. We have long-running programs that have been around for years and years. We also launch new programs. We expand, contract. We also support programs outside of our area through stakeholder engagement, through partnerships, and so forth. Best practices, BMPs, as you've probably heard them referred to, best management practices. We develop these in conjunction with our industry partners, our community partners, and many others. Policy and funding mechanisms. We like to refer that we develop policy with the small p, policy with the big P being legislation, statutes that are enacted at the legislature. But we are looking at policies and procedures that help be consistent and efficient, that we can share with others so they can hopefully learn from us, but we can also learn from them. We also work with local units of government on funding mechanisms to make their programs more sustainable. Material quality and contamination, this is in the recycling area, looking for high quality commodities so that these recycled materials can be put back into new products. Reducing contamination is key. Education, outreach, communication across the board. This is what we do. We are facilitators and doers, but we are facilitators, number one, getting out and educating, conducting outreach and talking to folks. And we do this with informational presentations and phone calls and emails and website and obviously so much more. So what is waste, I should say. So it's a number of things. And I'll invite you to take a closer look at this at your leisure. But municipal solid waste is what we generally think about when we talk about waste. These are the things that homes and schools and hospitals and businesses and colleges and a number of others create on a daily basis. And that space that we work in, not exclusively, but it generates a lot of opportunities for education and awareness from us to help folks reduce the waste that they're sending to a landfill. And this is where this municipal solid waste generally ends up. But there's also construction and demolition debris, C&D waste as it's referred to, medical waste, special waste, and then into the hazardous waste category. So once again, I would invite you to take a closer look at this. So how we create waste. And just a number of years ago, there was a law change, Part 115, which is our solid waste management law here in Michigan, went from a statute or a law that helped us manage landfills to help us manage materials. So this was the old model. We take it, we make it, we use it, we waste it, and it goes to a landfill. And then now we're here managing our materials. And this is the new 115. This is the reuse, the recycle, and reduce as well. So we take with the material, we make a product, we use it, and then we reuse it, we recycle it, it goes back in. And this is that circular economy that we'll touch on a little bit later. Just to reiterate, it's not waste until you waste it. So think about that for a moment. It's not waste until you waste it. Everything is a resource. So what is materials management? So here's the hierarchy that we at EGLE have come up with. I'm sure you've seen this. It's very similar to many other pyramids out there. We chose to have reduce at the top, which is our preferred method of materials management, but also the base of the pyramid rather than the peak of the pyramid. So this is what we want. And as things filter down, obviously the last resort is sending it to landfill. And it's not to say that landfills are still necessary and always will be, because there are materials that need and should go to landfill. But starting at the top here, we want to reduce those waste before we need to deal with them. So this is where we look at how things are made, reducing the amount of waste that goes into those processes. Food waste is an easy one. We make sure that people are fed. We reduce waste while we're processing out, fruits and vegetables and meats. And, once we get past reducing, we reuse it. If we can't reuse it, we repurpose it. Then we recycle it and ultimately recover it. And like I said, if it needs to, it's then go to a landfill. Slides, we're going to talk about food and food waste. And here's just an illustration of food consumption in blue, excluding donations, and food surplus on the bottom, which excluding donations as well. So we have surplus on the bottom, food consumption on the top. So a moment ago, we talked about municipal solid waste. So here's a breakdown of recyclable materials or by, the greatest percentage by composition of materials. As you can see, food waste is number one. Other organics, cardboard, wood, mixed paper, textiles, bulky items, compostable paper. And if you look at these products, these are all materials that are easily recycled or can have a second life. For food waste, these can be used to feed folks, feed animals, made into compost, power anaerobic digesters, and so forth. But these are the numbers that show it going to a landfill, and it's not getting a second life at that point. So this diagram shows the surplus food tons and the sectors that show that amount. So obviously, we show residential at 769,000 tons of surplus food, farm produce only, and manufacturing, food service, and retail. So surplus food in tons, showing these are the types: produce, fresh produce from the farm, prepared foods, dairy and eggs, dry goods, and so forth. Here's what causes this surplus. So these wasted foods, if you will. Trimming and byproducts is number one. Food that's simply not harvested. Excess food that we didn't need in the first place. Food that spoils. Date label concerns. Bio rejects. Food safety. And others. And obviously mistakes and malfunctions as well at food processing plants. And out of that 2.27 million tons, this is where it ends up. 32, almost 33% ends up in a landfill. 22% doesn't get harvested at all. Then we get into some benefit, composting, which is a growing industry, feeding animals. Some just goes down the drain with the sewer. Some gets incinerated. Donations, only 2.4%. We can certainly do better there. Some is land applied, some is dumped, industrial uses, and then anaerobic digestion at the bottom, 0.75% of that 2.27 million tons of food. Or to the hierarchy, the waste hierarchy that I showed you a moment ago. This is the wasted food scale from EPA, Environmental Protection Agency. Starting on the left, these are what we want to do. We want to prevent wasted food. Produce, buy, and serve only what is needed. After that, you donate or upcycle it, feed animals or leave it unharvested, then compost, anaerobic digestion, land apply, and then obviously here on the right side, coming down that way, we want to avoid sending it down the drain, landfilling it, or incinerating it with or without energy recovery. A couple of years ago, we were able to fund a food waste roadmap with the Michigan Sustainable Business Forum. These are some of the recommendations that came out of that. I think the second one down is one of those ones that we really need to focus on that we can all get involved with. Collaboration, creation of shared language around food waste reduction for businesses and institutions, in farming, food manufacturing, food service, and grocery retail. This is really a large area where there's some quick wins. It doesn't take a whole lot to sit down and talk and create partnership. But also, number one, developing incentives up here on the top, programs that reduce food waste among businesses and institutions, and really making the case. So it's communication, it's getting stakeholders together and having conversations so that we can provide for common goals and objectives and work towards those. So Michigan is a leader in food waste reduction. We were recently able to hire our first food waste reduction specialist, Aubrey Carlisle. See her contact information there. And also Aaron Hyde, compost specialist, and a really good technical resource for those that are looking to compost. So their contact information is there. Please do not hesitate to reach out with questions for either one of them. And food waste lives in these areas here. Part 115, which I mentioned earlier, is the solid waste management law for Michigan. Materials management planning, which we're currently engaged with, all 83 counties will have to identify access and capacity needs for organics, and that includes food waste. We do have EGLE staff, as I just mentioned, dedicated to food waste reduction. We have EGLE recycling and organics grant opportunities for infrastructure, circular economy, and so forth. And statewide combined impact, collaboration between the public, private, and nonprofit sectors. And that's the space where we work, live, and breathe. I mentioned earlier the idea of policy, policy with a capital P. So legislation, extended producer responsibility. This is a policy approach and practice in which producers take responsibility for the management of products or packaging they produce at the end of its useful life. It can be fiscal responsibility. They pay for proper recycling, handling, logistics, getting it back into a circular economy, supply chain. And who are the producers, the brand owners, the retailers? So it's really any number of those that can provide that responsibility or that responsible use and handling of the materials at the end of life. And certainly encourage you to learn more about EPR. There are programs across the country. Michigan has an EPR law for electronics recycling. But beyond that, this is an area where we will continue to look to leadership for helping us solve these problems. So as I mentioned before, the Know It Before You Throw It campaign, here are our recycling raccoons, which is our recycling public education campaign that's been ongoing for almost 6 years now, and has been very successful. You've probably seen the billboards. You may have seen a recycling raccoon at an event, may have seen some of the media coverage or some of the bling, if you will, that's out there, pens, pencils, bags, and so forth. So looking to evolve and mature as we get deeper and deeper into our recycling goals and objectives for Michigan. So more to come here, so stay tuned. Just to give you some examples of some of the information out there, the activities, the materials that have been developed, and so forth for the Know It Before You Throw It campaign and the Recycle Raccoons. So we'll just let this kind of run for a minute. So take a look at that. Obviously, there's much more information out there if you want to take a look online. You can see some of the past campaigns as well as some of the stats that are available to help support what we've been able to accomplish in the recycling world here in Michigan. So just to summarize a little bit more on the materials management or recycling side, So here's what success looks like to us and to many. Having an impact or a positive impact to communities, identifying and filling gaps through waste study, waste characterization, food waste, and so forth. Attracting investment and talent. So attracting investment is especially important in circular economy. You're recycling certain commodities, you need to have markets, so you need to attract investment to build out those markets and build the manufacturing or the commercial space that will use those materials. Along with that, increasing access, providing for infrastructure needs, both from a collection recycling standpoint, but also from a manufacturing or commercial standpoint, and helping to develop those end markets. And finally, growing a robust circular economy in Michigan. And this is where we have that perfect circularity of materials and commodities and products so that they continue to grow and build upon themselves. So here's our team, our recycling program staff context. So on the right side of this slide by region, Tracy is in the northern areas of Michigan, along with Daniel, DJ. In blue, Jeff on the west side, Devin and Maddie in southeast and central Michigan. And on the left side, we have Aaron Hyde, compost specialist, Steve Noble, electronics and batteries, Aubrey Carlisle, food waste, food rescue, and security issues, and Matt Flechter in market development. Programs that we work with in materials management, as well as energy and food waste and other spaces, is recycling resource systems. And we work with them through a contract for Next Cycle Michigan, which is building a circular economy. They have opportunities within their accelerator platform, also partnership networking, both with former accelerator cohorts as well as external partners, and data guiding opportunities. And this is where we have our gap analysis for recycling and solid waste. It's where we launch teams for the accelerator tracks for innovative technologies and local units of government or municipalities and organics and a number of others. So just a really good organization. At the end of the day, folks come in with their ideas. If accepted, we help cultivate that through resources and funding and expertise from both the cohort teams, but also the judges. And then they come up and talk about their product, kind of like a Shark Tank, if you will. So once again, this is a really good website to check out. There's a lot of information out there. Certainly encourage you to do so. Next few slides, 8 or 9 slides, we're going to deal with our energy side of things. Like I mentioned way back at the beginning, there's a lot of federal funding sources. A lot of those are in place to help with our energy needs, our energy goals, our decarbonization efforts, moving away from fossil fuels to electrification. So these next few slides are programs, but also funding sources associated with those. So our Charge Up Michigan and our Lake Michigan Circuit both work with charging infrastructure, specifically electric vehicle charging infrastructure and placement, identifying where gaps exist within the structure in Michigan, and provide funding and technical resources. As you can see, the program's deployed over 275 charging stations to date, $1.2 million remaining for funding to build out the Upper Peninsula and identify and fill those gaps. And also on Lake Michigan Circuit, as it says, we're trying in partnership with Wisconsin, Illinois, and Wisconsin to develop a full circuit around Lake Michigan for charging infrastructure. Michigan's part of this, 17 projects, nearly $1 million. Still $5 million remaining to be funded out in FY25. Nikki Gumas is our main contact for both of these programs. You can see her email there. So certainly encourage you, if you have more questions, to reach out to Nikki. program that Nikki is involved with, both on the clean fuel and charging infrastructure. So this is a multi-purposed program and funding source from sourced here in Michigan, $30 million for non-publicly available charging support, like multifamily units, for fueling stations for heavy and medium duty lots and public transit systems. And once again, filling gaps in the fast charging system. So Nikki, once again, is contact here. On the right, we have Truck Stop of the Future, which is a clean hydrogen hub. So hydrogen is a fuel source, building out hydrogen fueling infrastructure for over-the-road trucking, grants for both the truck stop and for hydrogen fuel cell electric heavy-duty vehicles, which will be, we should be seeing some of this movement later out in the year. To mention again here, so Nikki, once again, in charge of grid resiliency program and funding. This is, as you would guess, the electric grid and building in more resiliency and hardening those soft points so that power outages and efficiencies can be increased. This is, hardening of power lines, facilities, substations, vegetation, fuel load management issues, relocation of power lines to improve reliability and resiliency, replacing old overhead conductors, old cablings, undergrounding when possible, especially for critical infrastructure, growing the skilled workforce that helps support grid resiliency and, the electrical grid in Michigan as well. So once again, information here, 14 projects, $16 million in 24, and a little over $9 million here for 2025. And once again, Nikki is the contact. Community support, our community energy management program, headed by Cody Evans. As you can see, 2024, 60 projects plus, actually more than that, awarded for $5 million applications on a rolling basis. So this is, as it says, community energy management. These are small to medium grants for local units of government to plan, to benchmark, audit, to put in energy efficiency upgrades, renewable energy projects, community-based energy incentive programs, electric vehicle infrastructure, electric vehicles, and education outreach. So really anything that can have a positive impact on community energy management in your town, impacting the lives of your residents, is eligible under this program. Strongly encourage you to take a look at this from a community standpoint. Once again, Cody Evans is contact and his email there below. On the right side, the diesel emission reduction grants. As it says, this is replacing old diesels with all electric vehicles and equipment. So taking what can be very dirty vehicle emissions from diesel engines and replacing those old vehicles, actually getting them off the street and replacing them with all electric vehicles. Focus here on local government fleets, recycling vehicles, garbage trucks, composters, food waste recovery vehicles, agriculture, and irrigation. Slow moving as of last year, but there is ample money is available in the fund for 2025, and those applications are being accepted on a rolling basis. And here is Dan Zabosian and his email if you'd like to reach out to Dan for more information on the diesel emission reduction grants. Next couple of slides deal with renewable energy. On the My Solar Access Community Solar Array Pilot Program or energy storage systems within a municipality or cooperative electrical utility territory. Currently, there's a little over $300,000 available and accepting applications on a rolling basis. Contact for this program's Hunter Van Riper, his email there. So feel free to reach out. Renewable Energy Academy, this one-stop shop for large-scale renewable energy in Michigan, partners with Michigan State University, University of Michigan, Michigan Association of Planning, and Five Lakes Energy. This is a hub for resources, tools, and experts in the field and providing no-cost technical assistance to communities interested in utility-scale solar or wind or storage. Regional workshops and guides and training available. Ian O'Leary is overseeing the program currently. His email there is below. In addition to the Renewable Energy Academies. We have the Renewable Ready Communities Awards, $30 million in FY24. A number of projects have been awarded to date. So this is a program designed to reward municipal renewable energy adopters. The program provides up to $5,000 per megawatt, maximum $3 million to eligible Michigan municipalities that have or are considering renewable energy projects that will physically host and or perform local permitting. So looking later on this year in 2025-26, we could have an additional $90 million in funding that we can help support Renewable Ready Communities Awards. So moving on, Michigan Home Energy Rebates Program. So we have two programs in here, actually. We have what's called the Home Energy Efficiency Rebates, which is for appliances, helping your home to be more efficient. And then we have what's called whole homes, home electrification and appliance, which is a whole home approach. Both of these are done with assessments and recommendations that identify eligible activities and products and appliances that can help upgrade your home and make it more energy efficient. These are targeting low income areas of Michigan. We did conduct pilot studies in the Upper Peninsula Power Company area and the Holland Board of Public Works territories, which concluded just about a month ago, with statewide launch happening just a little over 2 weeks ago. To date, we've seen a fairly significant uptick in applications coming in, but really at the end of the day, even with nearly $200 million in funding, this program will impact 3, possibly 4% of the homes in Michigan. So we talked a little bit before about workforce and I think training and awareness. So a couple of programs here. We do offer sponsorships for annual programming, financial assistance for workshops, trainings, conferences, other events that help increase the awareness of energy efficiency, renewable energies, sustainability technologies, and really anything that can fall under that sustainability umbrella is not always eligible, but definitely worth looking at. In 2025, we'll have $800,000 available. These applications are accepted on a rolling basis until funding has been completely spent out. And then also on the right side here, training for residential energy contractors. These are, a grant with the federal government for a little over $4 million for residential contractor training. These are wraparound services, so they're providing from start to finish. They're certified. We're looking to reduce costs and expand opportunities, not just for building out the industry, but building a strong, resilient workforce as well with good paying jobs. And that's it. That's all I have for today. My email there is below. Please feel free to reach out with questions, ideas, observations, and so forth. Continuing our conversations and starting new ones are what continue to make us successful, working towards really a cleaner, more resilient planet. And also, as a 26-year career here at EGLE, whenever in doubt, I go back to mission 1, and that's protecting human health and the environment. That's what we do here at EGLE. That's what everything that we focus on should lend or lead to, is protecting human health or the environment, or both, hopefully. Also 3 websites there, which you can get to most of everything within the sustainability section from either our energy, our recycling, or our P2 websites. So like I said, feel free to reach out. Please do reach out. And I look forward to hearing from you. Have a great day.